Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, at least for those in Europe. Good morning, if you are in a different time frame. Good evening, if you are in still a different time zone in Asia. And welcome to this World Circular Economy Forum Accelerator session titled Investing in Circular Bioeconomy, Public-Private Collaboration for a Sustainable Future. The session is hosted by the Bio-based Industries Consortium. I'm Samuele Ambrosetti. I'm the head of program and innovation in the Bio-based Industries Consortium, or BIC for short, and I will be the moderator of this session. While I still see a few more people joining, I will just employ a couple of minutes to tell you about our organization, what we do, and why basically we are promoting this session. Then we have 6 great speakers today that I can't wait to hear from, but I will introduce them in just 1 minute. First, I will run you through a bit what BIC is, Bio-based Industries Consortium, what we do, and why we think public-private collaboration is a key to unlocking the potential of bioeconomy. So basically, Bio-based Industries Consortium, we are an association. We are based in Brussels, Europe. We group in over 350 companies, almost 300 research organizations and universities, and 16 territorial clusters all over Europe and beyond, covering all the sectors of bioeconomy. You see here in this slide, you can find more information about who we are and what we do on our website. Promoting the quadruple helix cooperation between the private sector, the research community, public institutions, and society. I would say it's in our DNA, so much so that we are the co-founders, together with the European Commission, of the European Public-Private Partnership on Bioeconomy, which is called Circular Bio-based Europe Joint Undertaking, or CBEJU for short. So the CBEJU, as I said, is a public-private partnership under Horizon Europe. Horizon Europe is the framework program for research and innovation of the European Union, running from 2021 to 2027. The partnership is mobilizing a public funding budget of 1 billion euro, and at least another billion euro will come in the form of investment from the companies. So this is truly let's say a 50-50, we say, endeavor between ourselves, or better said, the companies that we represent, and the European Commission. This partnership finances research and development projects at all scales in the field of bioeconomy, from lab scale through demo scale, all the way to full industrial scale flagship plants. And on the map here, you can see the impact all over Europe of this program. You can see the green dots. These are full-scale industrial plants, new biorefinery funded by the program, and the yellow dots are all the demo-scale facilities that are the stepping stone between the lab and the future factory. So we are very proud, of course, of the achievements of the partnership, and it's not over yet, because the calls of 2025 are open now. By the way, if you're interested, you can check them out, and we still have 2 more years to go until 2027. And this slide basically leads me to introducing our speakers of today, because the first 3 speakers that we have will bring us real cases of companies that at various stages of their growth in different geographies and covering different market sectors, they all have in common that their growth has been promoted and sustained by public and private cooperation, including through the CBEJU program. So the first speaker today is Sophie Roelants, founder and COO of Amphistar. And Amphistar is a startup from Belgium producing biosurfactants. Then we'll have from Fibenol, Reet Nõmmoja, business development manager in sustainable solutions. Fibenol is a rapidly growing company from Estonia, which is producing chemicals and materials from wood. Then from Novamont, we have the head of research and development, Luigi Capuzzi. And Novamont is a large company from Italy, one of the leaders in the production of biopolymers and packaging materials. Then the second block of presentations. In the second block, we will look at public-private cooperation from the side of the public institutions. So first, we will have Marie Clotteau, advisor for environment, climate, and agriculture for the Grand Est region in France. who will tell us about their successful bioeconomy promotion programs in the region and how they turned Grand Est in one of the key bioeconomy hubs in Europe. Then we'll have Patrick Rose, Innovation Manager at SPRIND, which is the German federal agency supporting breakthrough innovation. And it's a great example of an innovation support mechanism at national level, which is itself innovative. So I can't wait to hear more from Patrick. And lastly, to have, let's say, the global perspective from an international organization, we have Marta Gomez-San Juan, senior bioeconomy expert at the Food and Agriculture Organization of the United Nations. So she will share with us how an international agency such as the FAO can support bioeconomy projects and does support bioeconomy projects around the world. So without further ado, I will give the floor to the first speaker of today, Sophie Roelants from Amphistar. Sophie, can you in 10 minutes show us the journey of Amphistar and how the public-private cooperation has been key in achieving your growth?
Yes, thanks a lot. Thanks for having me and us. So I will try to share presentation. Voilà.
Yes, it's loading.
How does that work now?
And we see it now. Yep.
Is it okay? Not too many squares that are
there's a bit of squares in the bottom, but I think we can live with them.
Okay, I will try to move. If they're in the way of reading, I can move them up. Or is it now going up? Probably.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. So hi again. Yeah, so I'm the co-founder and COO of Amphistar, and I will explain a bit in detail. Samuele mentioned what we do, and also two questions were asked about hurdles and what can be potential solutions. So I tried to focus my presentation also a bit there. So Amphistar is in the business of developing and producing surfactants. Surfactants, maybe you've not heard of them, but you've used and even eaten them today. So they're literally everywhere. We show some examples here on the slide, home care and personal care products, but they're literally in almost every product you use in your daily lives. When you then look at production and feedstocks, still a lot is produced from fossil feedstocks or palm oil, which is really not sustainable. We then have fully bio-based alternatives coming from corn and vegetable oil, for example. But if you take in mind what is the issue with palm oil, with these types of products, you will, in the end, if you start making big volumes, end up in a similar issue, deforestation and land use. So what do? We use food waste and side streams as feedstock for our fermentation processes to produce biosurfactants. And we clearly see that that has a dramatic impact on the environmental impact of our products. We're a spin-off company from Ghent University and the Bio-based Europe pilot plant. So 5 founders from the 2 institutions set up the company almost 4 years ago now, and we have grown to about 22 people now. So a really nice journey already. I'm very proud of it. And that has done indeed, we have done that with a lot of support already from some people that are here in some institutions that are here. So I also like to show this picture because, of course, the previous picture where I showed the nice hand of the waste, in reality, this is what it looks like. So we have used already this type of waste, which is supermarket food waste, converted into a biosurfactant that was used by Ecover, an ecological cleaning brand, in an all-purpose cleaner. We have recently launched our first commercial products, AmphiClean and AmphiCare product lines for home and personal care purposes. But of course, there are still a lot of hurdles on our way to make this a true success and to go to market. Just a summary of our product. So which are the claims that we make? So we don't have any fossil feedstocks or palm. Our products are 100% upcycled and of course 100% bio-based. What is important for home care and personal care market is that they don't contain any 1.4 dioxane, which is in the case of standard surfactants that are used in these markets. And also, they're mild. So if you wash your hands, they're mild to your skin, but also to the environment. We recently concluded an LCA, and there we see that in accordance with what we expected, that indeed, if you put all the numbers in a model, we are really the sustainable choice. So if companies want to start making their products more sustainable, they should probably use one of our ingredients in combinations with others, of course. So we are not the only ones. Okay, then I come to, was a short introduction. I come a bit to the question of bottlenecks and hurdles that was asked. So our aim is to set up production plants in co-location with waste feedstock providers. And what is the main hurdle that we still see today is cost. So we can make very nice products, but they are still more expensive than traditional fossil or palm-based surfactants that you can find on the market. So why is this? Of course, economy of scale. We produce at small scale, which is of course always more expensive than if you produce at big scale. Economy of scale has not kicked in yet, and also the installations for fossil chemistry, these have already been paid off, so that's logical that it's cheaper. Also, these processes, fossil-based chemistry has been optimized for a long time, whereas our types of processes are typically novel processes that we still need to fully optimize to make it at an optimal flow efficiency to be industrially feasible. And then another point that I put is, if you start comparing ingredients with each other and costs, it doesn't really make sense because these are completely novel materials. So you should start looking at, for example, a hand soap, a formulation, a cleaning product, making a new formulation and then comparing the final cost and what it would cost to a consumer. So you need reformulation, and that costs also money and energy, and typically companies don't like it. I put some ideas on how can the cost issue be maybe resolved. It's just some ideas on how governments or funding bodies or can help with this. Legislations can help with this. So tax differences, incentives, as it has been done with biofuels, that's a potential idea which has worked very well for these examples. I was at a conference last week. Patrick was also there, Patrick Rose, and there was someone that made a suggestion like, governments would be, if they would only be able to buy for their own governmental cleaning, or in our case, sustainable products. That could also already, of course, help to go to market faster. And carbon credits is another one where costs, where a cost difference could be, leveraged a bit with very cheap fossil-based or non-sustainable products. Surfactants. So I'm going up again. Sorry for that. So a second hurdle, and I know I'm probably repeating what a lot of you have already heard, but it's something that we really bump against now. So I still want to put it in the presentation. Regulatory and labels are the things that we need to go to the market. I'm thinking then specifically for us, REACH and the cosmetics regulation, for example. The timelines to get a product to market are really long and expensive, and also uncertain. We don't know when we will get feedback on a dossier that we submitted, and also that gives us uncertainty to our customers. So particularly in Europe, this process is very lengthy if you compare it to, for example, certain regulatory bodies in other parts of the world. Also, in our case, I mentioned we use waste and side streams, which is really not a standardized feedstock, and these regulatory bodies are really used to standardizing everything. So if you want to make something very sustainable based on waste and side streams, but it's not always the same stream, it makes it extremely difficult with the current systems to go to market. So again, Europe and everyone wants sustainable products, but actually there is another hurdle to bring those products to market. Another one that I still want to mention is that there's still a disadvantage for GMOs. For example, Cosmos, which is an important label for personal care. There you are okay to use enzymes from GMO organisms, but not for chemicals. So that's also not very logical. So some ideas to resolve this is new strategies from Europe, from ECHA, to do a pivot, to change maybe a bit on how you look at different types of chemicals. And also, more putting in the light that synthetic biology and biotechnology is a key enabling technology to go to a more sustainable future. So I think that should also be translated in these types of labels, Cosmos, whereas you want to say our product is sustainable, but if it's GMO derived, you cannot use that label, which in a way also doesn't make sense anymore in the current world we're living in. Also seeing that for enzymes, it's okay. And then a third one that I think it's also repeating, but it's, I think, also for this panel really important to mention this, of course. Our idea is, as you see in the top of the slide, to start producing a commercial plant. So you need a lot of money there, and biomanufacturing at scale, you need a lot of capex. Typically, traditional investors don't really like to put their money in steel in the ground. So this is also a very challenging hurdle that we are dealing with. And then, of course, I put here some ideas to resolve. There are already a lot of things in place here in Europe. So that's really the good news. We are here in this seminar, CBEGU, where I think for Amphistar, the funding that we have received throughout the years, even before we were incorporated, I was writing a lot of these projects and coordinating them. This has really allowed us to do what we are doing today. So I think this is a great initiative. Also the FP7 in the past, and now Horizon 2020. These funding schemes that are in place are really fantastic. There's also SPRIND that was mentioned in the introduction. We will hear about it from Patrick. And I think other countries could also follow the example of SPRIND and set up agencies or like funding bodies, I don't know how I have to call it, like this, that are really lean and mean, and that allow you to really do disruptive things with a minimal administrative burden. I really also want to add this. I'm a strong advocate for what they are doing, because it's really very low effort or low administration effort. I would not say. They still let us do a lot, give us a lot of work, which is of course normal and good. And maybe there can be other types of approaches where local funding, European funding that is now spread and really scattered, that it can be more centralized to allow efficient funding. And also an idea could be to have set up VC funds with longer horizons, because typically the horizons that we need are a lot longer than, for example, software-based companies or technologies. I'm always putting the wrong button, sorry for that. Then a second point that you asked is if there are any ideas for pooling resources. And of course, that's a very good point where we also try to work on this. Where you could be, what we are doing, it would make most sense in an integrated biorefinery concept, because the high capex costs we have, if we build a factory from scratch, there are a lot of things, capex intense, things that are not really linked with our deep tech technology, like wastewater treatment or utilities, where you could share this. And also the fact that feedstock coming from example, food processing plant, maybe we cannot use all the feedstocks, but another company could. So if you would have like clusters of companies that start using waste and side streams on site, and you can have synergies and also work together and share costs, that really makes sense. But it's of course not that easy to make it. It sounds nice, but to get it done, it's not that easy. And yeah, being close to waste in our case is really important, because if not, you're transporting waste, which again adds to the cost to the environment, and also the waste will spoil. So you're losing carbon to CO2 again, which you also don't want, and also the value is lost. So having these collaborations across the value chain is really important, and this is also something that CBEGU and in the past PPIGU is really, it's at the core of what they do. So I think it's a really good approach also to bring people together. You're forced to work together in a consortium, but this also in a way forces you to do things, and sometimes speeds up collaborations, as we saw with Ecover in the past with the Waste to Funk project. And I think integrated local production models is really where we should go for, and I think that's also one of the topics that CBEGU is really focusing on, also in their flagship programs, for example. So I hope I'm still in time. Here the last slide to thank you, and to thank the funding and shareholders that have put, of course, also a lot of money in our company to make our credo serious about making biosurfactants mainstream reality. Thanks a lot.
Thank you, Sophie. Great example. And many actually interesting points also for the roundtable at the end of the session. So thank you for your contribution. Now we move to Reet from Fibenol. Are you here? Yes, I see you. So if you could please start sharing your experience and how the basically public-private cooperation, and in particular the CBE funding is, but also the national institutions are supporting you in this journey.
Hello from my side. Is it okay, Samuela?
Yes, I see you and I hear you.
Okay, very good. So I'm introducing how Fibenol can support the transition to circular economy and sustainable solutions enabled and powered by wood-derived materials. So the challenge is to defossilize industrial value chains that are based on non-renewable resources, on fossil feedstocks, and in different sectors. So in energy, in transport, and as of today's my topic in materials. And this is all complex how we see the value chains here and how we see solution. So solution, biomaterials for cleaner tomorrow. On the picture you can see Fibenol first of a kind biorefinery in Estonia, inaugurated by European Commission 1 year ago in 2024. Fibenol itself is 8 years old company. And this is the wood fractionation, first of a kind wood fractionation biorefinery to fractionate over 90% of the residual and low quality wood into novel biomaterials, which are lignin, lignova lignin, wood sugars, and specialty cellulose. Those three types of products all come out from wood. And the ultimate goal is to empower new value chains, to cut fossil feedstock dependency, and progress towards net zero goals. Shifting to bio-based solutions in everyday sectors in construction, building construction, road construction, and also, for example, in bio-waste collection. So there are wood-based materials as feedstock materials give several various solutions for the bio-based applications in insulation materials, paints, coatings, bioplastics, asphalt, personal care, and also other ones. Coming into the more examples and what are the applications are. So you can see on this picture lignova lignin in production, produced already and ready to deliver to the clients. So here are some of the lignova lignin applications as a bitumen replacement in asphalt to make sustainable asphalt solutions, then bioplastic and biocomposite, and do replace phenol in phenolic resins for plywood, for example. If it comes to the road sector and low carbon road solutions, then such kind of projects have been paved and implemented already in 8 countries globally. So we are really glad to see how road sector very carefully thinks about those type of opportunities. Then lignova lignin in the bioplastics is also another great example how bio-waste collection in our kitchens, in the organizations, institutions can be made more pleasant, also more clean. So to promote the use of local raw materials through the woody materials to give good sauna smell also in the kitchens, and to reduce environmental impact with the compostable at home, compostable industrially. The wood sugars are really good materials to replace wood sugars as a second generation sugars, good materials to replace first or food sugars in such kind of application as binders for insulation materials, advanced ethanol, industrial fermentations, and specialty bio-based chemicals. And the third product of Fibenol is now in a process of scale up. This is a flagship project together with CBE, Circular Bio-based Europe, and Bio-based Industries Consortium, where Fibenol is a coordinator of the consortium together with the industry partners and academia. So to scale up the microcrystalline cellulose material with the different applications in paints, energy storage, and paper and packaging. There are lots more, over 10 projects where Fibenol is leading or being a partner with the others. And this is together the journey how we move towards the bio-based solutions in different applications. And those are the projects here you can see on the slides where we are happy to be part of. When it comes to the technology and what is behind how the wood feedstock can be used such various ways. So this is a first of a kind technology specialized to produce lignin, wood sugars, and specialty cellulose to use all the fractions out of wood. So over 90% compared to traditional half of it. And one part is which type of properties and food properties woody biomaterials give into the applications. So the other part is low CO2 footprint, and carbon is stored in wood. And when the woody materials will be used in the applications, in long-term applications, so it is a very good opportunity to reuse the resources, contributing to the circularity. And innovation beyond borders. So Fibenol is a sunburst technology IP holder, and very glad to progress towards a scale up as well to valorize wood. And the scale up is really important part how to bring the bio-based solutions at scale and in everyday lives. So walk the talk, building the future together, innovating within planetary boundaries together with a private and public partnership. Thank you so much.
Thank you a lot, Reet, for your testimonial. I have to say, I visited your plant in Imavere last year, and I look forward to visiting the bigger one that you are going to build. Also, thanks to the CBE funding.
Thank you.
Yeah. And hopefully using your products in my everyday life in the near future. So talking about products that we use in our everyday life, that's a pretty good, I think, bridge to Luigi's presentation, because I'm originally from Italy, even if I'm based in Brussels. And since a few years, the Novamont products, in particular the shopping bags, are ubiquitous in Italy. So it's one of those cases in which a bio product has become truly a part of daily life of people. So maybe, Luigi, Starting from here, I kindly ask you to share your story and the story of the development of Novamont. Thanks.
Thank you. Thank you for giving me this opportunity to talk about the path that Novamont is following after I don't know. No, okay. After my idea has been to explain what happened to Novamont and Novamont system after the end of what has been the first flagship project funded by BBI that was coordinated by Novamont. This flag, I don't know. I'm sorry, but it apparently.
I see your presentation. Okay. Yes, and now it moves.
Okay.
There's a bit of lagging.
Obviously, we cannot discuss here the results of First to Run. I simply remember that thanks to First to Run has been very important to support the implementation of the flagship biorefinery in Matrica in Porto Torres in Sardinia region, reconverting a fossil industrial plant with a global investment of more than 300 million, obtaining several important results in different areas. The project was working in the agricultural areas, studying new value chain from new crops, proposing flagship materials in the Matrica plant, proposing to implement the first European production of azelaic and pelargonic acid as a starting material for other products like cosmetics, lubricants, feeding materials, a lot of byproducts, and all of this has been all these results has been obtained also looking with a very positive outcome in terms of sustainability, in terms of emissions of CO2, in terms of non-renewable energy consumed in comparison with the benchmark. But first of all, it's been important for us to set up a new model also to cooperate with farmers, with farmer association, with academy and SMEs. And what I can say is that after First Run was concluded in 2019, a lot of things happened. For example, in 2020, in the area of improving our approach to sustainability, Novamont decided to become a benefit company, modifying its statute and deciding to follow a very complex certification scheme, the B Corp certification, in which we were able to obtain a quite high scoring since the very beginning, obliging ourselves to be responsible, sustainable, and transparent, not only for our shareholders but for all stakeholders, for the community, for the workers in the company, and so on. Also in terms of the relationship with farmers, there were important development, and the most significant is the continuing relationship with the Coldiretti. Coldiretti is the biggest European farmer association. They associate more than 1.5 or 0.6 million of farmers in Italy. And together with them, we launched a couple of years ago a company in which Coldiretti directly participate with the idea to promote a new model of participatory innovation between agriculture, research, and industry in order to help farmers to maintain good crop yields through sustainable agronomic solutions, for example, for biodegradable mulch, plant protection products based on pelargonic, biolubricants, new dry crops to be used in order to regenerate underutilized soil after the experience of first run, and so on. And what about Matrica? Matrica plant. Matrica plant is up and running plant after 6 years after the completion of the project, with quite positive results in terms of directly employed people, in terms of increase of volume produced after the end of the project, and a very high increase in value and in turnover generated by the products. First of all, for example, azelaic acid, that was a completely new product for Europe, has been utilized exclusively from Novamont in the first years, but now we have been able to develop a new application and expand the application and the products for the market. More than almost 400% more azelaic acid has been sold to the market in 2024 in comparison with 2019, while Novamont continues to use this product for captives. But also important, and even more important from this point of view, is the launch of Ager-B, is a unique proprietary patented formulation based on pelargonic acid that is now has been registered in Italy and in Portugal for several crops. Obviously, a lot of activity is now in progress to extend to other geographies and to other crops the potential use of this important herbicide. Is a readily biodegradable product suitable to be integrated with other agronomical practices aimed to reduce the use of conventional herbicide, but it could be also used in direct competition in conventional agriculture and horticulture with the traditional product, like, for example, glyphosate. And we have identified at least one very big opportunity in the short term for a global development of this product in tobacco crop that can in which can substitute very toxic products with a big advantage also in terms of economics. But maybe the most important fact that happens at the end of 2023, and also in this case, first run was important because it was the first step of this collaboration. Following this collaboration, after a few years, not always very simple, but at the end of 2023, Versalis acquired 100% of the share of Novamont. And this has been very important for us and for the Eni group, that is the parent group of Versalis, is the oil company, the main oil company, the state oil company in Italy. Through the acquisition of Novamont, the whole group is now a bioeconomy platform with a unique position, with a huge potential that has to be still fully developed. We strongly believe that the full development of this platform can become a country project, a country for Italy to launch finally, and to make people understand how much is important bioeconomy and circular bioeconomy in our actual system. Simply a view on of the global possibilities that and the global infrastructure that are now available for this platform. There are the almost present platform of Novamont in Veneto region for the production of biobutanediol, in Terni and Patrica for polyesters, but now Patrica is part of this Matrica, sorry, is part of this platform, but also the Proesa technology plant in Crescentino for the production of second generation bioethanol, but from wood and straw, become a further element of this platform that can help to let me say, to launch definitively this platform that have already, let me say, that are present with hundreds of millions of euro of investment in big plant producing real products that can be present on the market. So all is positive, all is good, not really, because there is still a lot of work to do, especially because okay, Europe, for example, BBI made a wonderful work in the support of innovation, and with the from my point of view perfect idea to fund flagship plans. The key point is that when you have invested a lot of money and you are producing real products, still you do not have enough support for this bio-based product. And I agree perfectly with Sophie that already represented this problem. So what is true for biofuel, for example, is not true for bioproducts, and bioproducts as up to now not a real support like tax levels, like green public procurement, for example, that can be imagined. But for example, no specific NACE codes exist for the bio-based sector. This is a very big problem, because you cannot discriminate between a fossil-based product and a more sustainable bio-based product. We had also to face a lot very big problems in terms of illegality. We have been invaded by falsely biodegradable materials or falsely renewable materials, and this is sometimes also related to definition of the product that are not so transparent, and the standard of control are not so high level and defined. So this is something that, in our opinion, will help overcoming this problem, will help very much to launch really at the real industrial level these products, even because Europe has been great in building up structures, infrastructure. They are present, but now they are at risk from different reasons, geopolitical, commercial wars, first of all, before pandemic, but other crises could arrive. And so we have to, let me say, to take maximum care of this aspect of our economy. And I stop here. Maybe we can continue in the following roundtable.
Thanks a lot, Luigi. Some very good points also for the following roundtables, and also some very good bridges, I think, to the next block of presentations, because you've shown how several, let's say, projects actually remain on the ground. It's not only the project, it's what happens afterwards. No? And this is, I think, what everybody is looking forward to, and also what our speakers from the public sector are willing to support. Not just a project for the sake of doing the project, but a project that has an impact, has a value, and also the cooperation and the win-win, let's say, approach with the farmers, I think, is particularly important. And this leads me directly to the presentation of Marie from Région Grand Est in France, because I see a field of wheat here. So, of course, agriculture is very important in your region. And can you tell us how agriculture and industry go hand in hand for the development of bioeconomy in your region? Marie, the floor is yours.
Hello, thank you for the invitation first. And yes, I will try to explain how our region is really trying to encourage this public-private cooperation, and maybe also why we have chosen bioeconomy in order to really work on this as a strategic priority for the region. So maybe first, in order to maybe understand who we are and where we are, because maybe some of you don't know, but the French Grand Est region, this is in the eastern part of France. And so basically this is between Strasbourg on the very western part, so where you've got the European Parliament, and on the western part of the region, you've got the Champagne that you can drink. So basically now you can have an idea of where we are. And we are really a cross-border region. So this is really one of our key specialty. I mean, we've got cross-border with Belgium, Luxembourg, Germany, and Switzerland. And indeed, Samuele, you mentioned that we've got a strong farming component. Indeed, more than 80% of our area is dedicated to farming and forestry. And we are the first French region in terms of value for farming. So of course, we've got biomass within the region, and it has some importance in the decision. But this is not the only asset, because we've got more than 155,000 of jobs of people directly working in the bioeconomy. And this is almost 7% of all the jobs in the region. So this is a growing part of the economy. But also we've got a lot of actors working in this sector. And this is really all along the supply chain. So we've got the farmers, and the foresters. I mean, we've got more than 30,000 farms, so it's a lot. But we've got also territorial biorefineries, like with Pomac-Bazancourt, for instance. We've got some industries. We've got some research center, like Exebio in the Université of France Champagne-Ardenne. We've got really also a capacity to transfer knowledge and technologies, such as with the Reet bois, for instance. And we've got 137 startups working directly in bioeconomy. So we've got all these actors all along the supply chain. So this is really because of all these reasons that we have decided to focus on bioeconomy. And so we had a first strategy that was updated in 2023, and it's now called Ambition 2030, and it's based on the 5S. So I'm sorry, I kept the French, but just to show you the 5S, otherwise it doesn't work in English. But basically we've got food security, and in order to ensure food security, we've got a view also to reduce our dependency and to build the resilience and maintain dynamic rural areas. Very important to maintain the people in the rural areas. The second priority is to focus on soil, air, and water health. So to promote action to ensure healthy soils, water resources, maintenance of biodiversity. The third priority is a source of bioproducts, and in order to invest in the production of bioproducts, biomaterial, plant-based chemistry. And the 4S is energy sovereignty, so to ensure also the production of bioenergy. And thanks to this 4 priority, we achieved to have a 5th one, which is serenity. So serenity in the future, thanks to a permanent dialogue between the actors and through cooperation and experimentation. And our idea is really to encourage this circular bioeconomy future in the region. So concretely how to do that, because let's be very honest, a policy is really nice, but it's also very better when you've got some financial support in order to actually implement it. So concretely, we have already supported more than 200 projects in bioeconomy, including, for instance, in 2023, we have supported 53 large industrial projects, and for an amount of more than 53 million euro of investment. And these investments were in different areas of bioeconomy. So I just put some figures just for your information, but for instance, on sustainable biofuels or on vegetal fibers or on biomolecules or biorefineries. So the idea is really to support on different areas linked to bioeconomy. But let's maybe take a few very concrete examples. So some of you might know, especially this one, because so Affiren Neoxy, this is a company that is located in the industrial platform of Carlin Saint-Avold, and it was simulated in your first map. And so they produce 7 different organic acids, and they convert co-products from the sugar industry and other non-food biomass feedstocks into different types of acids. So I will not enter into the technical details because I'm not a technical person for that one. But the idea is that the region supported directly this enterprise through some support, so some financial support of 1 million euro in 2019. And as you might know, in France, this is the regions which are the regional authorities for structural funds. So they were also able to support through ERDF, this company, because of its innovation. And so they had an addition of 2 million of ERDF funding in 2020 to develop their plant. And then they had this very nice CBUGU flagship, which was called After Biochem. So now it comes to an end. But this is a way also to show that the different types of funding can be combined together in order to make a great industry with more than 60 direct jobs and 200 indirect jobs. So quite a lot also of impacts in the territory. Another very concrete example, it's AgroNutris. So this is a leading enterprise in the insects production. So it is based in Rethel, so in our region, and they are specialized in the breeding and processing of the black soldier flies. So these types of insects that we can see in the picture. And so they transform these insects into a source of proteins for food for the animals, and their dejections are used as an organic fertilizers. And they've got a great ambition because they want to become the first global firm to produce 17,000 tons of animal flour coming from these insects. So they've got an ambition, they've got employees, they've got more than 60 employees, and they want to double this number of employees. And so the regions has supported it. So first through some zero interest loans to directly support their innovation, and then through some financial support with 1.5 million euro to support the implementation of the firm, and also through some financial support, again, coming from ERDF, from the structural funds. A third very concrete example is Clarisse. So this is a big cosmetic company, and they wanted to develop a second production site. And this second site is developed in Sainte-Savine. So again, this is a place in the department. I'm sure you won't know everywhere, but still. And they wanted to develop quite a lot of investment in the region. And so the region provided some financial support for the implementation of this second company. And you can see that it was also a big policy support because you've got the CEO of the company, but you've got also the minister, the mayor of the town, and the president of the region in this photo. So it was really a way to support the implementation within the region and to work together closely with the company. But in addition of these really specific examples, in fact, what we want to do is really to support the implementation and the development of the whole supply chains. So this is what we call contrat de filière. And the idea is really to consult, to co-construct, and to implement structuring actions with local actors. And remember, at the beginning, I told you that we've got more than 400 actors all along the supply chain. So the idea is really to involve all of them, so of course not in every supply chain, but to involve farmers, researchers, industries, SMEs, in order to develop the supply chain. So we have signed 5 different contracts. The first one was on sustainable biofuel, the second on plant fiber, on bioinput, the third one, then on chemical coming from plants, and the last one last year on the proteins on the future. So very concretely, I will take the example of the contract for the plant fiber. And the idea was to support financially the supply chain, thanks to a support of 8 million euro each year for 5 years to support the natural fibers like wood, hemp, flax, nettle, miscanthus grass. And the strategy is really well defined. I mean, we've got clear objectives. So for instance, to make the Grand Est region the valley for sustainable and locally produced plant-based fibers. For instance, we've got the European hemp cluster, and we want to double the market share of vegetal fibers in the national consumption of textiles. So the objectives are clear, but such are also the different very practical actions that we want to do. And here again, we want to work on the whole supply chain with the different actors, because we want to support the production, harvest, and storage of natural fibers, but we want also to increase the research on biosourced fibers, or to encourage the technology transfer or the industry production of fibers, but also without forgetting the consumption and encourage the public purchasing of vegetal fibers. And we had 43 signatories, so you can see the logos and signatures of all of them, so of most of them. So basically you see that really the idea was to involve the different type of actors and work together. And finally, I wanted also to present you this initiative of the month of bioeconomy, because when we speak of private public consultation, we also have to think of more widely how to raise awareness about bioeconomy, because it's not always something very well known by the public. And for the third time in September, we will do the month of bioeconomy. So last year, we achieved to organize more than 100 events all over the month in the territory. To do what? Of course, to share experience, to have roundtables, to have conferences, so to have experts talking to each other. Okay, that's great, but this is people who already know bioeconomy. But the idea is also to go beyond that. So the idea is to involve people, I mean, like usual people like you and me that you can meet in the street. So we are taking the opportunity of an agricultural fair in order to do some big kermesse, to do some games with kids, to go to school, to go to open doors with the enterprise. So really trying to make the bioeconomy known by the different people, and also for the job seekers, in order for them to know that there are opportunities to work in bioeconomy. And this is not just an initiative of the region. This is clearly something that we work all together. And last year, 66 partners work directly in the implementation of the events. And so we will do that again this year. And so if you are interested, don't hesitate to let us know, because there will be a lot of things to know and to attend. So thanks a lot.
Thanks a lot, Marie. Very nice presentation, very concrete examples of these territorial value chains with deep roots in the region that help the rural development and getting all the different actors together. Now we see, I think, a completely different approach from Patrick. I see he's already sharing his screen, more, let's say, bottom up, more towards breakthrough innovations. So please, Patrick, tell us more about SPRIND and its particular, I'd say, innovation support program.
Yes, Samuel, thank you very much. And thank you also to the Bio-based Industries Consortium for allowing me to present today. Good afternoon, good evening, and good morning, everybody. I'm an innovation manager at SPRIND, which is the German Federal Agency for Breakthrough Innovation. And we are here for all you who have radically new, crazy ideas that otherwise wouldn't get funded. And really excited, and thanks, Sophie, for the shout out. I do want to show you a little bit of governance, just so you understand how we operate and how we work. We were initially created under these two ministries, the Federal Ministry of Economic Affairs and Climate Action and the Federal Ministry of Education and Research, as a company. So we're a company that belongs to the German government. We follow the governance of German law and the European law. as such bodies are run. However, we have the agility of a company in how we operate, and that's extremely important for us to be able to make commercial decisions that are at speed and relevant to the needs of you as an individual or as a company to be able to move forward. And as Sophie alluded to a little bit, that also allows us to be quite lean and mean in our execution power. I said this already, so European state aid laws and sprint freedom law are things that apply to us. That's important because of how our financial tools work. How do we help you? So we are a platform that encourages creative, unconventional thinking. We celebrate failure. We love risk-taking, all with an effort not to regret not having tried something, but actually try something that otherwise would never see the light of day. And we do this through two different approaches. So on the one side, we have bottom up, which I'll talk about in a minute, where we act as an investor, very much like any traditional investor. However, we're not a traditional investor. And then the other way is through top down, where we run more like an agency, and that is through challenges. And you can see the difference here in we're doing, and I'm excited to announce that we're at the end a new challenge that we'll be launching later this fall, which we're quite excited about. So how do challenges work? We leverage the European pre-commercial procurement process. We set together milestones and objectives that teams, companies, academic units, startups can compete for, where we really want to push the limit, where we believe that academia has done enough to demonstrate a proof of concept, and now it's a matter of bringing it to the market. And so we use this pre-commercial procurement competition process to really pull them. How are we lean and mean in that? We put out a call that will be about 6 weeks open, and then we go from closing the call to having money in your bank account within 14 days within our challenges. And the way we do that is you submit a proposal. The contract is included in the proposal documents, so you can see what we're expecting, and it's non-negotiable based on the European state aid laws. And then we're ready to sign the contract. Once we've invited you to our offices, you get to pitch in front of our jury members, and if we select you, we let you know right away, and the next day the money can be in your bank account to get started in the projects. To date, we've had now more than 7 challenges. Challenges are 3 years long. Funken or Sparks are less than 14 months long. You can see we've supported 38 plus teams in these different competitions, or 38 teams are still in the race, 61 started so far. And these are competitions, so we push the envelope, where we consider ourselves serendipity engineers, because these challenges are sort of a stress test for you, and you should ask Sophie about that and what you're able to do and how we can empower you in doing things. And so if you do not maintain the sprint spirit of thinking creatively and thinking unconventionally and taking risk, then we remove you from the challenge, because we want to maintain that spirit. These are some examples of challenges going at the moment or have concluded. The circular biomanufacturing I'll talk about in a second, that is ongoing, and Sophie and Amphistar are currently part of that in year 2, and will have to compete for year 3 coming in October. And so this is what the Circular Biomanufacturing Challenge currently has outlined for it. So these are the different stages, and we're in stage 2 at the moment that teams have to fulfill. And we try to push possible and what can we do with the investment that we provide. How do we do this? We do this with some amount of money. Hopefully you'll consider this not too insignificant. This is through this pre-commercial procurement contracting vehicle. It's non-dilutive funding to you. And as you go through the stages, we're able to provide you this amount of money to really accelerate the technology forward and go from that proof of concept to a demonstration. And we're very friendly in terms of making sure that the intellectual property stays with you. And our process is This is just to show you an example of how these challenges work. So it's 3 stages or 2 stages for the Sparks. We do evaluations, we bring in jurors to help us make decisions, but ultimately it's about whether you're competing with the sprint spirit in mind in challenging the convention how we see it at the moment. So that's the challenges. So that really is an enabler that allows us to drive technology forward, to create new companies, or to empower existing startups and companies to take their really creative ideas and put them to the test and demonstrate their value. On the other side, we're more like an investor. And what we do is, we are able to provide sole source up to 220,000 euros for a 6 to 9 month project, which we see as our due diligence process, where we want to work with you to understand what is the true breakthrough technology that you've developed. How can we help you really boost this technology or level up the technology so that's even more attractive to investors? And we create then an investment case around that and say, is this something for SPRIND? If there are other investors already involved, or if this is a clear case for other investors, because there's a clear return on market, we're less interested in it because we don't have a role to play in that space since we're using taxpayer money. But what we can do is after the validation project and separating the pre-commercial procurement contracting, we can provide €1 million in a founding grant if your company is less than 5 years old. We can provide an R&D grant up to €35 million with 25% in-kind contributions. We can provide equity or convertibles up to €100 million with 30% fresh cash from a new investor. And uniquely, we can also create our own subsidiary. So if we believe the technology is something that is looking far into the future, but we believe in that technology, we can create our own company, take your human capital, intellectual capital, protect it in our subsidiary, develop the technology with a loan, also up to €100 million over 5 years, and then spin it out to the market value and make it attractive for investors. And we actually bring all of our teams to our flagship event, which happens in April, and it's an invitation-only event for investors. And this year, we were able to present our teams to over 180 investors who saw the value proposition in what we're doing. So here are some examples of different topics that we've developed and have been pursuing as individual projects, but also as companies. You can read more about these companies and the initial efforts on our website, which is just sprint.org. Key to this, I want you to understand that is really important. We are not exclusively Germany focused. Our focus is Europe. We are here to empower the European community and strengthen Europe as a whole, and to be a good community member and a good neighbor to all of our European neighbors. And so with the pre-commercial procurement process, we automatically include the European Union, the European Free Trade Zone, the UK, and Israel as countries who are eligible to be the prime in applying for competitions. For our individual validation projects, you can come from almost anywhere in the world. There are some exceptions into countries that we will not engage with. The next step, though, for larger investments, the value proposition is come to Europe. It's a strong and healthy ecosystem. We have the values to stand behind, and we will make the investment in you to be able to establish yourself here and build fantastic and strong companies through those equity, through those grant investments, like I just mentioned. So the larger investments, you are required to at least have a footprint in Europe to be contributing part of that community. So with that in mind, I'm already at the end of my 10 minutes as promised to keep on time, but I do want to mention to you, we're launching a new challenge this fall, which will be focusing on biomining and bioleaching of critical metals out of waste streams. So leveraging chemistry and material science, but primarily biology, to take metals out of different complex waste streams, functionalize them, turn them into materials that can be sold right back into industries, and demonstrate with biology, for example, that you can do this much more effectively than we're doing at the moment. We'll have a similar scheme in terms of volume of funding to do competition. We will be funding 8 teams in that process. So watch the space. This is my LinkedIn QR code. Stay in touch with me, and looking forward to answering any questions. Thank you very much for your time and appreciate the opportunity.
Thanks a lot to you, Patrick. Very interesting scheme you have in terms of both the agile, let's say, functioning, but also in terms of really pushing your participants to strive for 110% of what they can do. Yeah, I think it's a unique scheme. I've never seen it anywhere else. So yeah, I definitely want to understand more about it. So now we have seen, let's say, a very local and territorial approach, of course, from a region who wants to see bioeconomy happening in their region. We have seen a more, bottom-up and technology-focused approach from SPRIND. I think it's quite fitting that our last presenter is a global, let's say, organization such as FAO, who has, of course, a crucial mission, the one of providing food for everybody in the world, but maybe not only food, but let's say everything that is around food production and agriculture, and bioeconomy in this can I think, and I hope everybody agrees, be a game changer in providing livelihood opportunities for the farmers and for the local communities around the world. So it's my pleasure to introduce Marta Gomez San Juan from FAO. Please, Marta, the floor is yours.
Thank you very much. Let me share the screen, the presentation. Here it is. And thank you very much, Samuele and BIC for inviting FAO and inviting me. And big congratulations. It has been such a panel, many regions, many sectors, private actors, so really, really enlightening. And even I would call it even a partnership in itself, because at least me, I've learned so much from actual technologies, business models, bottlenecks. So why not to call it a collaboration already? Really congratulations. So yeah, I'm Marta Gomez San Juan. I'm a senior bioeconomy expert from the United Nations Organization for Food and Agriculture, FAO. And I work in the bioeconomy team. So I believe my first slide is about this. Yeah. So we have been working on bioeconomy since 2015, but our members made it as priority in 2021 for the whole organization to work on it. This is what Samuel was saying, is kind of like a position already for making bioeconomy beyond agri-food systems and beyond food, of course, and beyond agriculture and beyond forestry, but also towards industries, towards transformation, towards using waste. So the whole, let's say, system. And our current strategic framework until 2031 is about this, is moving beyond just production. And that's why bioeconomy is a pillar of it, and we work on it. So for today, we'll talk about 3 types of partnerships we have. We are a big organization, so it's hard to explain everything in a few minutes, but I will talk about global partnership on bioeconomy, which is what I'm mostly working on. We also have sectorial partnerships, so I will present very brief overview of some colleagues that work with the private sector on different commodities, and also project level partnerships between the public sector and the private sector, in which I also work. That is mostly our daily work in FAO. So for the global part, there are recent developments and very nice momentum globally, because last year the Brazilian presidency of the G20 launched an initiative on bioeconomy, and they agreed on high-level principles. FAO was there in the whole process, also providing our support. And this year we are continuing with the South African presidency. Also within FAO's membership, which is broader than G20, in September, FAO members recognized the need to have a global multi-stakeholder partnership. So the multi-stakeholder is really important. It means beyond governments, but also private sector and academia, etc. And members encourage FAO to explore the setup of this partnership. And then in January in Berlin at the Global Forum for Food and Agriculture, again, the ministers acknowledged this, and with the support from Germany, we initiated this consultation process, let's say, to see how such a partnership could be established and how it would look like, etc., and which members would it have. So we are currently developing several rounds of regional consultations. We have a global survey, and the QR code is there if you want to help us in understanding the appetite and the different angles that this initiative could start helping with. So please help us with this survey. And yeah, I think that's it. And one of the main objectives that this partnership could have, but at least we are doing it already, is knowledge exchange. So we have a dashboard and also other materials in which we analyze all bioeconomy strategies and the action within each of them and compare them and provide some guidance. So here I put some just examples of how different bioeconomy strategies and action plans include or not industries, bio-based industries, and which sectors. So yeah, it's a way for this will be for the public sector, how countries can compare themselves in terms of action, but also for the private sector to understand where the targets are at policy level. And we map not only the bioeconomy strategies and action plans, but also other policies like the national determined contributions for the climate change COP, or the national biodiversity strategies and action plans for the biodiversity COP, etc. Okay, so the second level, the sector of value chain level. In FAO, we also work a lot on it, and I put here some examples of other teams, let's say, but I think it's very nice to mention that we have the private sector working with FAO in different ways, right? But the majority of them are the majority of activities that we do with the private sector are about defining common metrics, defining common problems, what could be done for improving the sector globally, making a momentum. So I think for the bioeconomy, they are very nice models that we can use, also foresight analysis, etc. So we have the LEAP partnership on the livestock environmental assessment partnership. So it's basically how to make assessments. So it's data and metrics. We have the World Banana Forum, which is super wide. So they have metrics, but also many other activities, and they have very big companies there. And there's a lot of interest there. So it's possible to work together globally. The Mountain Partnership, for instance, they work with the private sector, but maybe more a small scale level with designers. Maybe they have an Italian designer using some local communities fibers to make some fashion. So maybe more at niche level, but also very nice examples. Also the Global Bioenergy Partnership is very present globally, and the Global Soil Partnership has a big structure in which there is a lot of research being done between the academia and the private sector. So either for metrics, for indicators, for showing examples at fashion weeks, or for actual papers, the private sector is working in a wide range of projects. Also at value chain level, but this was a specific project in Uruguay. We analyzed the different value chains and biomass flows, but in order to select indicators from a big list of indicators, we did it, of course, with the local actors. And these are not only the ministries or the statistics office, but also the private sector and the organization of producers, or the organization of a consortium of industries as well, actually. So that's another example on how the private sector is really keen in bioeconomy. And then the third level, which is the project level, this is basically more on the technology. So today for me was really interesting to hear from all of you, from Luigi or Sophie on this bottleneck. So it's very interesting, because then we provide guidance to countries on how to uptake technology, right? So normally the matchmaking or the co-funding model is with bigger projects in which there are maybe several countries involved or multilateral environmental funds involved, and there is co-financing from the private sector for a specific activity, or just in kind, maybe a staff from them is working on the project for some years, or just sharing of knowledge in other ways. So there are different ways, but it's called co-financing anyways, and is normally with a wide range of actors and projects, similar maybe to the European projects. And here I put some examples only from the Asia Pacific region, but it's a really strong region, and I also wanted to show it because we have teams working in each region of the world, so we really engage regional and local stakeholders in this project. So in Pakistan, Sri Lanka, and Vanuatu, for instance, there is a GEF project, so Global Environmental Facility projects, in which the government funds, the Global Environmental Facility funds, and the private sector funds. So let's say a three leg system. In Pakistan, it's about textiles. In Sri Lanka, it's about bio-based inputs, and in Vanuatu, it's about tourism linkages with agri-food systems. So always trying to bring other sectors, like they would have never talked to each other before. Maybe in Pakistan, the banana producers would have never talked to the Levi's company or any private sector company there from the textile sector. So that's basically our focus, trying to bring new things into the agri-food system. So I think that's my last slide, and we are running a bit out of time. So I think all this has been said, but in FAO we work a lot for rural development and transforming the agri-food systems and rural areas. And the PVPs is a great model, and we are still learning and trying to provide guidance on it. And yeah, again, events like today are really useful for us. And my last slide is to invite you to a recent conference that is coming up. It's in June. You can also follow online, and it's about biotechnologies, and it's the first one in many years that FAO is doing. And it's a stepping stone or a milestone towards a renewed position of FAO in biotechnologies, and especially breakthrough technologies on what to do next. So not so much on what we are currently doing, but what are the most promising and most sustainable technologies coming up. So I think it will be an interesting one. And we have a specific side event I am organizing on the 17th of June at 2:30, only on the bioeconomy angle and industry angle. Thank you, Samuel. Over.
Thanks a lot. Marta, for this presentation, and thanks to all the panelists. Before closing the meeting, I would like to have a very short roundtable just to wrap up with two main questions, and these were already just addressed in several of your presentations. So we have seen a lot of developments. We have seen a lot of opportunities and possibilities and things that are already happening. So what's next? What are the bottlenecks still present? What can we do to improve? And then second question would be, there are so many initiatives, and how can we work together and pool resources together so that we, let's say, work all in the same direction in order to favor development and scale up of bioeconomy and related value chains. And maybe I would like to start with Marta, who just finished her presentation, just to give us a very quick take on the two questions, or one of them, as you wish.
Well, very briefly, maybe for both of them, is metrics and indicators and criteria. What to fund, what is included in the bioeconomy or not. I think that's really key, and we are working on a big compilation and guidance note on indicators and metrics that we are bringing to the G20, but it's a really complicated arena. So I know the CBEJU has very nice, clear, simple criteria on what to fund, and that's a nice already example, but at global level, it's still lacking. And yeah, for me, it's really key. over.
Then maybe I will go backwards in the order of presentation, and I will ask Patrick to give us his view.
Yeah, in terms of bottlenecks, what we're seeing is really the transition from early companies that have really great products and really great ideas to be able to scale those up and then lead into large scale production to meet actually demands of the customers, right? The customers will generally not just want a couple of something, they want tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands, something. And so being able to reach that scale is a bottleneck at the moment because there's not always enough funding to be able to move that forward. And then I think in terms of pooling resources together, I love what you're doing in terms of private-public partnership, having buy-in from industry as well as governments. Governments have a very important role to contribute to be less risk averse, to push technologies forward for the potential, and then also shape the direction of investment. So, you know, I tell many people that the biomanufacturing is sort of at an inflection point at the moment, where the computer industry was sort of in the 80s, where you had lots of really cool companies, but then you had this major dying off, and then the best would sort of evolve out of the trailblazers. And we're at that same point now. So lots of fantastic companies with flavors, fragrances, and cosmetics that will remain very robust in the economy, but that's a very niche market, and we need to really move to large-scale production of commodity materials to be competitive with the petrochemical industry, and that requires that scale up. So that's where that public-private partnership is going to push the things forward to be able to enable that scale up and get things to market.
Indeed, thank you, Patrick. This I agree fully with your view. We see that scaling up. I mean, Europe is very good, for instance, at funding research, but still scaling up is a major hurdle. Having the technology alone is not sufficient. You need to have a lot of other components, let's say, before you can really go to scale. One of them is the access to market. So if, for instance, if there is no, let's say, market drive from the public sector also in terms of favoring more sustainable and more circular and more renewable solutions, then it's of course difficult to compete with the fossil. And another issue, and here I call Marie to give me her perspective. Another issue is how do we make sure that we have the value chains, you know, that are needed for scaling up bio-based production, because it's not like you know, in petrochemical industry where you can simply have a cargo of oil, you know, coming from somewhere else in the world. When it's about biomass, you have to have a local value chain by definition. So I think in this respect, your region can teach something to the rest of Europe.
I don't know if we can teach something, but at least what works well for us is really to work in collaboration mode and working together. And I mean, we've got also some strategic planning all together with a lot of actors working directly on bioeconomy. So I think this collaboration between the different actors are really important within the region, but also at European level, and of course through BIC, but also through other networks working directly on bioeconomy. This is really, really important. And maybe because I am based myself in Brussels, I would like also to underline the fact that we've got right now a consultation of the European Commission, which is open to give us feedback on the EU bioeconomy strategy. And so I would really, really encourage all of you to give your feedback, to share also your bottlenecks and obstacles for the European Commission, because the feedback and are welcome right now. So this is also the time to act and the time to give feedback.
Very timely reminder from you, Marie. And of course, as BIC, we are also working in this respect. And yeah, we are giving, of course, our input on the bioeconomy strategy. Indeed, it will be a very important document for the near future, at least the next 5 or 8 years of European programming. And we are at a crucial time because it's not the only document. We have the Biotech and Biomanufacturing Act coming up. We have the Clean Industrial Deal, Competitiveness Compact, or just published. So a lot of things are moving, hopefully, let's say, in the right direction for the development of bioeconomy. And maybe with this question, I can go to the industries, and then maybe I start with Luigi. You have already highlighted a few bottlenecks and challenges in your presentation related to the policies, for instance, and to the approval process, and to the let's say competition laws. Can you maybe expand a little bit on what you see as the main bottlenecks for the full, let's say, rollout of bio-based products? And what is your experience in your success cases? Let's say how you were able to overcome those let's say bottlenecks and hurdles.
Frankly speaking, I think that the best way to overcome the obstacles and the hurdles is to let me say is to maintain a high level of flexibility. Different technologies should be put together in order to develop fully develop bioeconomy, but not all these technologies are ready at the same level. So we need to be very flexible, be careful about the possibility, let me say, not to go alone because you consider yourself the best in the pool, but trying to let me say to involve the biggest number of subjects possible. I think that the transition toward a better, a more sustainable chemistry need the contribution of all the players, even, let me say, the older one. So do not forget traditional chemistry, do not forget traditional approach, because there is a lot of knowledge, a lot of experience that can help us that are in these new platforms, working with biomass, working, help us to be more, let me say, sound, and to work with the right steps without losing people behind. This is, from my point of view, the key for the success, for the full success of our industry.
Thank you, Luigi. That's sensible, actually. Yes, because we are not building the economy from scratch. We are building a new kind of economy that needs to integrate into the existing model, and of course, the buying from the chemical industries is extremely important. We are happy to have many chemical industries, including the biggest ones in Europe and in the world, into BIC. So the fact that they are a member already is testimonial that there is this will to embrace the bio-based revolution. Of course, we are not there yet, but we are working for that. And in terms of working to bring the bio-based solutions to the market, I pass to Reet for let's say her perspective on what are the bottlenecks you see in front of you in terms of say really rollout of the technologies, not only from the technological point of view, but also from the permitting point of view, from the scaling up, from the policy support point of view. And how do you think we can proceed to remove or to make those obstacles smaller?
Yes, so from the main bottlenecks and the challenges I would bring in have been mentioned also already. So I would mention the regulation, the low level of green public procurements based on CO2 reduced solutions. So this is then technology neutral, which gives actually the flexibility for the industry to develop solutions, low carbon solutions. So that is definitely one part. Then financing and economy of scale to support from niche to norm the bio-based products to the market. and enablers and how we pool together these resources are definitely to keep the focus on clean technologies and their scale ups then. And then, yeah, partnerships. So private-public partnerships, also engagement on community, local, national, global level. So different levels of partnerships is the key word. And consistency to keep going all this every day. Thank you.
I like the reference to consistency, because indeed this is also something that Patrick mentioned actually in his presentation, to embrace the possibility of failure. Of course, we're doing something new, we're doing something innovative. If it were easy, there would be no need of this kind of partnership. And on this note, maybe I pass the word to the final considerations to Sophie. You have already, let's say, covered a bit these main questions in your presentation. Hearing what the other participants just said, is there any new reflection that comes to your mind that you would like to sort of wrap up our session with?
Well, I think actually it has been a very good coverage of everything that should be mentioned. So I think we're already over time, and I think I overspent a bit in my presentation. So I'm really happy that we're having these discussions and that all these topics are covered. So I don't have anything else to still add. So thanks for having us and for organizing this.
Thank you, and then it is my turn to thank all of you for your availability to be in this panel, also for the enthusiasm that you have brought to this panel. I think it was a very lively one. I hope all the people watching us online also enjoyed this discussion at least as much as I did. And then I think we can close on this note. And so thanks a lot to all of you. We still have some work to do, of course, but if we do it together, it will feel, let's say, less tiresome. Thanks a lot.